Since the start of 2020, which saw the first official spread of COVID-19 across the globe, world governments have been pretty focused on the control of the disastrous pandemic. But it might surprise you to hear that we've been facing another calamity that has electrical experts worried about where we go from here. What is this so-called microchip shortage, though? And how is it set to affect us? For all this and more, stay tuned. What are these missing microchips? To truly understand the catastrophic situation we're in at the moment as far as the microchip shortage is concerned, we have to first know a little bit about these tiny products. Only then can we determine the effects that this shortage will have on our lives. Essentially speaking, the microchips involved in the shortage are tiny transistors made from silicon. And for those of you who don't know, silicon is an element found within the majority of the minerals collected from the crust of the earth. Although the element is quite abundant in nature, silicon feeds a $500 billion chip industry, which in turn supports a global tech industry that's estimated to be worth around $3 trillion according to the most conservative of reports. How is something as small as a silicon microchip able to bring an industry like this to its knees, though? Well, these microchips are necessary components of the majority of technical equipment. They basically allow computers, smartphones, vehicles, appliances, and electrical devices to function. Suffice to say, the industry is pretty screwed without them. With production of a variety of electrical devices, such as the PlayStation 5 coming to an end as a result of the shortage. But how did this all start when silicon isn't exactly hard to find? What's the reason behind the microchip shortage? Unfortunately for us, this is yet another resultant of the infamous coronavirus pandemic, which caused a number of countries to enter a hard lockdown towards the beginning of the year, allowing workers to do as much as they could from the comfort of their own homes. And while the ability to work from home is something that was appreciated by those of us who were able to get things done this way, the change had the effect of increasing the demand for personal electronics used to complete rudimentary tasks. From smartphones to laptops, the production of these silicon-based microchips had to be increased in an attempt to keep up with demand. But it didn't take long for the industry to notice that this was simply not possible. The rate at which the demand for new electrical equipment had grown was simply too high, with the production of these silicon chips being far too slow in comparison. The automobile industry also had a pretty big role at play, though. You see, automakers quickly canceled microchip orders during the lockdown period, thinking that vehicle sales were going to nosedive. And while this was initially true, it didn't take long for the market to correct itself, leaving a stronger than expected demand for vehicles that outpaced production from factories finally starting up again. Suffice to say, the main reason behind this technological crisis has to do with overall demand being higher than possible production. And since this demand isn't decreasing, we have a problem. How is this microchip shortage affecting us? Since the automobile industry had quite a lot to do with the outpacing of supply by demand, it goes without saying that the number of new cars for sale this year has been pretty restrictive, to say the least. There simply aren't enough microchips to allow for these vehicles to be produced. And according to Pendragon, who just so happens to be the leading motor vehicle dealership in the United Kingdom, this shortage is going to cause the prices of vehicles to skyrocket in the years to come. It's an effect that we've already seen as far as new vehicles are concerned, but experts predict that it's only going to get worse as time passes by. It also looks like new vehicles on the market are dropping premium electronic features like navigation systems and extra screens in an attempt to up production by requiring less microchips overall. In other words, the future of the automobile industry doesn't look good. It's starting to feel like consumers will be getting a lot less for a lot more as far as new vehicles are concerned. That's just the automobile industry. When it comes to electronics, trade prices have increased tenfold according to reports. The price of computer memory has increased by around 30% since the start of the year, which has resulted in a rise of costs associated with computers, printers, and gaming consoles. In other words, the less for more attitude is spreading. Why are governments petrified of the continued shortage? An increase in price as far as vehicles and electronic equipment is concerned isn't great, but it's not exactly the end of the world. That being said, the effects of the silicon microchip shortage go a lot further than this, which has world government worried about the future. You see, these microchips are also considered to be vital components of a large range of strategic technologies ranging from defense systems to renewable energy operations. This has resulted in policymakers referring to microchips as the new oil, showing just how crucial the technology is for the successful running of the country. And since wars have been fought over oil, the real question is whether the same will be said for these silicon-based transistors in the days to come. If this has happened a few years ago, worries wouldn't have been so high though. The majority of production used to take place in the United States after all, about 80% to be exact, but in an effort to save costs, these production sites were moved to Asia, now solely take place in countries like Taiwan, South Korea, and of course, China. In fact, China is positioned to become the largest producer of these microchips by 2030, which is concerning considering how the country has been working to separate itself from the rest of the world. And with the principle of China first, everyone else last on the horizon, things could be getting even worse. What can we do about this? Luckily for us, some world governments have responded to the anticipated threat that a lack of microchips can have on the broader world. The US Senate, for example, passed the Innovations and Competition Act a few months ago. This piece of legislation is designed to boost semiconductor production in the United States by not just supplying around $250 billion to the industry, but allowing some of the cash flow to be used for research and development. It goes without saying that a new strategy has to be thought up, and it's only through scientific research that this can be achieved at the end of the day. The European Commission has also set out a pretty ambitious plan to get things under control in the coming days. According to reports, the Commission wants to grow its share of the semiconductor market so that it reaches around 20% in 2030. Still nothing compared to what's happening in Asia, but definitely a change that's necessary for Europe in general. We also know that Newport Wafer Fab, who just so happens to be UK's largest microchip producer, has acquired the Chinese-owned company Nexperia. Suffice to say, production is about to ramp up in the United Kingdom as well. When can we expect the shortage to end? According to Pat Gelsinger, the chief executive officer of Intel, there appears to be no real end in sight for the microchip shortage, and that's despite the advances made by us in the last year or so of work. With more than a few companies exploring means of increasing production, we can at least expect a few years to come and go before things are truly brought under control. Even if the answer is building more production sites, for example, this will take time. What we really need is for billion-dollar companies like Tesla to step in and start ramping up production at their gigafactories. By knowing Tesla, these chips will be somewhat exclusive to their own electric vehicles. Either way, we seem to be in it for the long haul. But remember, if you're already an electrician running your own business or just about to start and grow your own electrical business, you must learn the 4 critical things electrical business owners wish they had learned before starting an electrical business, so you don't make the same mistakes. Electrician Accelerator have put together a free training video you can watch right now. It'll show you exactly how to start, grow, and build your electrical business the right way, so you can consistently guarantee profitable work, free up your time, all whilst reducing stress levels and allowing you to have a sustainable, more profitable business that works for you. In this free training video, you'll also learn how to generate a steady stream of jobs on demand and with predictability month after month in your local area without relying on word-of-mouth referrals, how to stop competing on price with other electricians and escape your competition, how to convert at least 90% of your quotes and estimates into sales, and how to command premium prices and attract high-quality customers that will be happy to pay more. Make sure to click the link in the description. Let us know what you thought about our explanation of the microchip crisis in the comments section down below.